Okay. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So today we talk about some implications of Sarf, the different families and the different implications that different families have. Hopefully, inshallah, we'll get to family 10. I will try to be as quick as possible. And then if we have some extra time, we can ask questions. Now, this information I got from, I think it was Access students. There was a student who had this information on her drive. So I felt it's important for us to get it because we didn't get it in the dream program. And it will actually help when you're deciphering Sarf and understanding how different families work. What's the difference between Aslama and Allama? Because the Jibr, we talked about the root letters and the containers yesterday. So the root letters are the same, right? It's the containers that keep changing. So what is the implication then if I take these letters and put it in a different container? We talked about, we talked about the shapes and the paint. If you pour the paint in this particular shape, it's going to take that shape. So what is the difference between a square and a circle and a triangle? That's basically what we're going to look at today. What is the difference between Allama family, Ta'allama? What is the implication if we take a particular set of letters and put it into different families? I hope that's clear. So obviously we start with family 2 all the way to family 10, where the idea is family 1 is the standard. Family 1 is the main one. That is the original meaning, okay? And then when we take this original meaning and put it into different containers, we get different meanings. We get added flavors. Osava was talking about, it's like you are enhancing on it. You're adding more flavors, you're adding more stuff to it. That's basically what happens with that family. It has the same original meaning, but it has a different flavor. It tastes a little bit different. Like when you're cooking, you'll use the same ingredients, but let's take the example of making tea. I didn't know making tea was such a difficult or like such a phenomenal thing that it has so many different recipes. You have, the Pakistanis have their way of making tea. You have the Indians have their own way of making tea, the Bangladeshis, and everybody has their own way of making tea, right? And it's just the same ingredients. It's just water, milk, and tea leaves, and maybe a couple of spices here and there. But it's just tea. But if you add more cardamom, it's going to taste different. If you add black pepper, it's going to be different. If you add ginger, it's going to be different. So that's the same thing that we're doing here. We're making recipes with different families, right? So we start with Allama family. So Allama family, let's see, we have about 13 different implications or 13 different ways the Allama family could be used. So the first one is what we call ta'adiyya, which is transitivity. And transitivity basically means that the word was lazim in family 1, meaning that you could not add a maf'ul bihi to it. You could not add a who or a what to it. For example, I slept. You cannot say I slept you. What? Or I don't mean slapping, by the way, like giving somebody a slap. I mean like sleeping, right? So if I say I slept, I cannot say I slept bed. I have to add something. I have to say I slept on the bed. So those words which you cannot add a what or a who, we call them intransitive words. So if you take this word, I slept, or any intransitive word, and you put it in the Allama family, it's actually going to make it transitive, which means it can now be able to take a who and a what, right? So, for example, here you have Qadima, he came forward. He's the one doing the coming forward. It's affecting him, not somebody else. So it's lazim in that sense. But if I say Qaddama, he brought forward, and we've looked at this also in Amsa. Qaddama, yuqaddimu has been mentioned quite several times, but qadima is lazim. You take it to allama family, it becomes qaddama, which means he brought something forward or he presented something. See how that works? Bana, this is ajwaf. We're going to look at ajwaf some time to come. I can't promise anytime soon, but sometime to come. So bana is it became clear itself. It became clear. Like the glass was clear. The glass, we can say the glass was bana, right? Was clear, became clear. Maybe you cleaned it, you washed it, and it became clear. So that's the glass doing the thing itself. But then you take it to allama, it becomes bayyana, right? Bayyana. And this is where bayyana comes from. He clarified. He clarified. Okay. And then you have zaka. This is naqis. Zaka, he was pure. But zakka, he purified something else. So you see how that works? Like the effect comes just not in you for yourself, but it transfers to something else as well. That is the first usage of the allama family. Then you have another usage. Can I make this big? I think it will be, yeah, let's have it big. The second usage, I hope you can be able to see it. Do I make it even bigger? I think, yeah, you can do that. That's a nice point. So by the way, this class today is just me talking a lot, and forgive me for that, but I think it's an important lesson we have. So the second usage is a tasbir. What is this? A tasbir. Okay, to make someone or something gain a quality. Tasyir or a tasbir? A tasyir. A tasyir. So for example, faraha, he was happy, but farraha, to make someone happy, like the way aslama does, basically. So you give that quality to someone else or to something else. So watara, to be odd in number, like we say salatul witr, it's odd, it's either 1 or 3 or 5. That's watara. But watara, he made something odd in number. Maybe he was counting and then he counted odd. So he watara, he made it odd in number. Okay. For example, some days of the month are odd in number. Okay, so they are wattara. So Allah made wattara Allah. You can say something like that. The months. Yes, Fahima.
The Ilham Faraha, then he was happy. This is also lazim, right? Watara to be odd in number. These both are lazim.
Yeah. So Faraha, he was happy, like it only affected him.
He himself was happy.
Yeah.
And watara is also to be odd in number. That is also lazim only.
Yeah.
So it's taking all the lazims and giving out some other qualities in allama family.
Yes. Yeah. So
all the lazims from family one.
Okay, so let me clarify something. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a word from family one, you take it to allama family, it will have all these qualities. It could be either or one of these 11 things that is happening, or maybe several things happening to it. So it's not necessarily that if you see allama, it means all these things, right? It could be most of it, and we're going to also see that it could also be the opposite. Wow, I can't scroll. Oh, I don't know what's... Okay, there I can. Okay, I couldn't scroll. Where was I? Yeah, so that's the idea. So you have all these different connotations to it. It could be any one of this. It could be 3 or 4 of this. Yeah, so that's the idea. But it doesn't take all. Even if you've used handswear, you notice that some families do not have certain, some words do not have certain families. Like if you go search a word in a dictionary, you'll see maybe it has family 1, family 2, maybe it skips family 3, then it goes to family 5, like that. Some words do not have all the families. Yeah, so you cannot just take any word and put in all the families and assume you will get different meanings. So some words don't work. There are words that work, there are words that don't work. So that's basically the idea. And of course, yeah, this point number 1 and point number 2 are kind of similar because both of them are lazim, and then we're making it like mutaaddi. So it's kind of like similar. Okay. And then you have a salb removal. Okay. So for example, qishur is the peel of a fruit or a vegetable, and then qashara, to remove the peel. Okay. So it's something to do, it's the same word, but then you put it in the allama family, it now gives it some work. Like it's to remove the peel. Jirb is an itch. جرب, to remove an itch. So you can use the علم family to remove something, okay, for removal. قرد is a monkey, the monkey language that we keep speaking in Sarf. قرد, to make someone stop screaming like a monkey, okay. So yeah, if somebody is screaming too much like a monkey, قرد, and you try and stop them, so to remove the monkey sounds. We're going to see Arabs are obsessed with monkeys from my analysis of Sarf, I think, because there's a lot of monkey sounds and monkey business in Sarf. But yeah. Anyway, so that's the third meaning, removal of something. Then you have mubalagha. And I think this one was mentioned in our dream program, in our book, in our curriculum, that it brings the meaning of repeatedness or, you know, continuity or many times. And Ustad also mentioned several times the difference between anzala and nazzala. Nazzala is repeated many times. So that's the idea of mubalagha, as opposed to anzala, which just means once. So that meaning was already captured. We had an idea of this meaning. So the other examples could be like غلق, to lock or to close. Yeah, just once. But غلق, to lock repeatedly or multiple doors would be غلق. To close the windows, to close the doors. So like in Surah Yusuf, the wife of the Aziz, she went and closed everything. She closed all the doors and all the windows. Like she kept closing everything repeatedly. So that's غلق. And then tawafa, of course, to perform tawaf. And then you have tawafa, to do tawaf a lot. So it has that repeatedness. And you have other examples as well. Interesting, you have mata, to die once. But mawata is a lot of people dying. Yeah. So you have some interesting examples like this. Or qatala, to kill, and qattala, to massacre. Like you have that exaggeration to it. Yes, of course.
Mata means to die, right?
Yes.
Mawata will be dying multiple times.
No, it doesn't necessarily meaning multiple. It could be just exaggerated form of the verb. Like obviously you can't die several times, but the exaggerated form of it would be like so many people died at the same time. Yeah. So that's just the exaggeration, the mubalagha aspect. So mubalagha just means exaggeration or hyperbole or, and one of the meanings of exaggeration is a lot or repeated.
Means it's not necessary that exaggeration is exaggeration is only on the
Repeated.
verb.
Yes, yes. It could be just, instead of, it could be one, but it's bigger. Yeah. Or it could be several. That's what basically mubalagha might imply here.
Okay.
Yeah. And also it depends with the word. Like some words, you know, you can do, like for example, now this one, mata. I mean, you can't really say you died several times. It doesn't work. So it depends with the kind of word that we are looking at. Then number 5, as-sayrura, to become something. So like nur means a light or a light. Nawwarati shajara, the tree put forth its light, or it basically it blossomed and it became fruitful. So it put forth its light, like it became, how do I say this? Like it blossomed. I don't know any other way of saying it. So that's how they could use it. And it's more like a poetic usage to just describe how the tree became so lit and so beautiful because it has flowers and whatnot. So it's more of a poetic, artistic way of describing something. Yeah. So you're using light to mean flowers, kind of like a thing. Can you guys hear me fine? I know there's some rain, so I don't know if you're getting any interference.
No, we can hear you fine.
Right. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Then we have al-bulugh, balagha, to reach. So al-bulugh, to reach something. So we've covered, I think we looked at the word amik. Amik means deep. Ammaqa al-ma', the water reached a depth. So like it went really, really deep. The water went really deep. So we said ammaqa al-ma', okay? And then khayma is a tent. خيم زيد. Zaid pitched a tent. Like he reached a tent or reached the tent or pitched the tent. And I think these are not very common usages. Most of the common usages are either mubalagha or transitivity here. These are the more common ones. But these other ones are not so common, I think. Then you have al-nisbah, which means attribution. So, for example, fasaqa, he was corrupt. فَسَّقْتُهُ. I accused him of being a corrupt person. Okay, so that's فَسَّقْتُهُ. So you just take the word of corrupt and I made him corrupt, or I gave him the attribute of corruption. That's basically how it's being used. So kafara, he disbelieved, but kafartuhu, I accused him of being a disbeliever. Yeah. So you know those takfiri groups, we call them takfiri groups. They keep calling people kafir. So it's from this kind of idea. Kafara, yukaffiru takfir. Yeah. So accusing people of that quality. Then you have saraka, sarraqtuhu, I accused him of being a thief, and so on and so on. I think this is also common. It's slightly used more. And then you have takhlit wal libas. So this is when you have mixtures happening. Okay, so mixing something up or dressing something up. Al libas is to dress up. Takhlit is to mix things together. So khallata yukhallitu takhlitan. That's where it comes from. For example, dhahabun is gold, right? Gold. Dhahabat shay, I covered something in gold. Like you take copper and you gold plate it or something, or you take a certain metal and you put gold on it, you'll be doing dhahaba, okay, with the shadda on it. Or you take that word, whichever word you're doing, like jallalat al-farasa, I put the saddle on the horse. So al-farasa is the horse, and then jallaltu, I put the saddle. Okay. Then the other meaning is al-qasr, to abbreviate or to shorten. Qasr, qasir, short, so to shorten. So for example, these are used with the phrases in Islam specifically. So you have things like halala, to say la ilaha illallah. If somebody said la ilaha illallah, instead of me saying qala la ilaha illallah, I would just say halala or halalat. She said la ilaha illallah. Kabbara, same thing. Instead of me saying he said qala Allahu akbar, I would just say kabbara. He just said Allahu akbar. Sabbaha, again same thing. Subhanallah. Sallama, he said salamu alaikum, like that. Basmala, not from this family, but it also means Bismillah, like to say Bismillah. This is a different word. I think they just put it here to show that, that's what it's called. So these are the official names of basically these phrases. And then tahweel, this is completely to transform something, okay? So sallama, somebody was not a Muslim, then sallama, you made him a Muslim. You converted. Again, it goes back to like transitivity and intransitive, like making something happen, like the second reason we talked about. So sallama, to make someone convert to Islam. So they are changing. Hannada, again, to make somebody convert to Hinduism. So Hind comes from there. So Hannada, Hinduism, and converting somebody to Hinduism. Majjasa, again, converting to Majusi, like Magi religion. I don't know. That's what they call Magi, or I don't know, Magi or Magi religion. In Arabic, they're called Majusi. Nasara, to become Christian or to convert someone to Christianity. Hawada, again, you can see how it works, yeah? Sharraka, to become a mushrik, or to make someone become a mushrik. So that kind of transformation. And I think it's mostly used for religions. I don't know what else it's used for. I have to do more research there. Then you have to create a meaning that's not obviously related. Now this is just new. You take the jither, but it has nothing to do with the jither. Like in family one, it means this. Then you take it to allama and it completely means something else. Like for example, kalima is to injure. Kallama is to speak. What is the connection? It's not there. yeah, it's just invented. الابتداء, basically they just invented a meaning. So that's, yeah, that's also a function there. So sabaha, to swim. Sabbaha, to declare perfection. Although this one, you can sort of kind of see the connection, because sabaha is not just to swim. There's also the meaning of floating. So the idea that, you know, especially when used for Allah, Allah is floating above every imperfection. So that's sabbaha, to declare his perfection, something like that. Then adaba, to forbid. Adaba, to punish or torture or inflict pain. So yeah, just maybe there's some connection that the Arabs saw with these words that we cannot see, but they're very, very different. So sometimes you have a word in family 1, it means something else. And in family 2 or family 3, it means completely something different. Then you have a tawji, a tawjiba? Okay. Yeah, I think tawjiba. Or I don't know what this word is. Anyway, to turn one's tawjiya. Okay. Oh yeah, wajh, from wajh. Yeah. So tawjiya, to turn one's face in a particular direction. Okay, so for example, sharq is the east. Sharraqa, to turn towards the east. Kaaba is the Kaaba. Kaaba, to turn towards the Kaaba. So the next time you're praying, don't be like, oh, I need to turn to Qibla. Just say Ka'abtu. Yeah, I turned towards the Qibla. Or Uka'ibu. Yeah, I'm turning towards the Qibla. Shimal, the left. Shammala, to turn left. Yameen, right. Yammana, to turn the right, towards the right. Medina, city of Medina. Maddana, to turn towards Medina. And of course, the same. Yeah, you understand the meaning. And the last one is to take on the qualities of a noun. Like tamr is a date. Tammarat ash-shajaratu, the tree was full of dates. So instead of me saying like so many words, you see how precise Arabic is, and how, look, the English was the tree was full of dates. What the Arabs just did, they took the word for date and they, you know, linked it with the tree and be like, okay, the tree, dates. Dates full of trees. Tree full of dates. Just like that. It's very interesting. I hope that's clear. That's family 2. Okay. Wow, I don't think we'll be able to finish all this today. We'll see. Because that's just family 2, and we have like 8 more families to go. Or is it 9? 9. Oh. Okay, let's see where we can be able to do. So that was the Allama family. Now we go to family 3, which is Jahada family. I need you guys to also remember these names and the numbers. Very, very important. Okay, so family 3 is Jahada. So as you can see here, they're calling it either by the masdar. فعال ومفاعلة. Again, you see the idea of ta'diya, which tells you that a lot of words in family 1 could be intransitive. So you take it to family 3 also, you get from a word that is lazim, it becomes muta'addi. It can take a who and a what. Karuma is, we know that this family karuma is lazim, but karama, he honored somebody. Okay. Ba'uda, it was far. Ba'ada, to make something far or distant. So we get the idea of lazim and muta'addi. The other thing is al-musharaka, and this is the most common, I think, that happens, expresses relation to one person or object. So, for example, you have, he sat with the king, jalasa عند الملك. You just say جالس الملك. Malik. Malika. I think this is a typo here. So جالس الملكة. He sat with the king. جالس. Like there's some cooperation. You're working together. That's what happens with this family. Okay. محاولة, the idea of trying. Okay. So غلب, he overpowered. غالب, he tried to overpower. Maybe he failed. He tried. And you have the example mentioned here in the Quran, which is really, really awesome. يخادعون Allah. They try to deceive Allah. Yeah, they try to deceive Allah. How can anybody deceive Allah? You can't. You're just trying, but you fail miserably. So يخادعون. the idea of trying.
Sister, can you unzoom the screen a little bit? I want to, I'm taking some notes and I cannot see the whole page.
I can share this later, no problem. That's,
Okay.
yeah, I think that'll be easier. I will share. Okay, so you have that. And then you have, again, tasir, to treat someone with a quality, like we talked about in alama, when you attribute somebody. So this is kind of the same thing. So hasana, to be good, excellent. Hasana, he treated with kindness. The other one, you're giving somebody a description, but here you're treating somebody with that description. Okay, so that's the difference. So hasana, to be good. Hasana, to treat somebody with goodness. Multiple people in some sort of exchange. Okay, so for example, kataba, he wrote. Kataba, both of them exchanged writings. So exchange, some kind of an exchange is happening. That's also a meaning. Qatala, he killed. Qatala, both of them tried to kill each other. They were fighting, basically. That's how we translate qatala. Qatala, to fight each other. And then we have also the meaning of invention here. So you have some other meanings that are just completely different from what they were. So Basharo, he was joyous. He was happy. He was, pleased with some good news. Bashara, to have intimate relationship. I think this is used in the Quran. Yeah. Don't approach your women while you are close by to the masjid. Like that in Surah Al-Baqarah is used. Yeah. So Allah used it in that way. Okay. Then ضعف, to be weak, it's lazim also. ضاعف, to multiply something. So it's completely opposite. Multiplication is actually a sign of strength, but ضعف is weak. So you see that sometimes it's completely different. قسى, for a part of the body to be hard or dry. And then قاسى, to tolerate. So very different meanings, completely not related. That's the idea. Then we have same meaning as mujarrad, or as af'ala, or as fa'ala. Now this is where it gets tricky because it's the same meaning, like there's no difference. So safara, he traveled. Safara, he traveled. So safara is family 1, safara is family 3, same meaning. Right? So I don't know if they got lazy here or they just decided, yeah, let's just use it, no problem. Okay. Then you have jahada, to struggle, jahada, to struggle. Both of them mean the same thing. Family 1, family 3. Ab'ada, this is aslama family. Ab'ada, ba'ada, distanced, to make something far. Okay. To put like from ba'ada is to be far. Then you take it to aslama or jahada, same meaning. He puts something away, far. Da'afa, this is family 2. Da'afa, same thing. Da'afa, muda'afun. This is also used in the Quran. Id'af, so doubled. When it comes to Allah rewarding people who give charity, something like that. Yeah. Mutaba'a, something happens repeatedly in succession. So again, this we have the meaning of repetition. So walaytu sawma, I fasted one after another. Okay, this is actually new for me. I did not know this meaning, but taba'tu, this is easier to know because we've used the word taba'a. تابع يتابع. تابعت الدراسة. I kept on reading. I followed it up one after the other. That's the idea of what is meant here. So it's actually used in the reader as well. And also in EMSA, I think. So yeah, that's the meaning there. And then the last one again is مبالغة والتكثير. So exaggerating and making it more. So we have the example of طاولته, I got taller than him. Or ضاعفت أجره, I multiplied his compensation. So I made it way more, like you're exaggerating the amount that you gave. Or you're exaggerating how tall you became. Maybe it's not even a lot, but you're just, exaggerating. That's the idea of mubalagha here. So that's family 3. Any questions? Yeah, it's just basically, yes, Saima.
Do we need to memorize like all of the 9 and all of the 10 things?
No, I don't think you need to memorize. I'm just doing this for the purpose of education so that you understand when it's Allama family, it doesn't just mean one thing. It could be a number of things. That's the idea. So just to keep an open mind, and maybe when you go to the dictionary and you realize it's not just repetition or it's not just hyperbole, it's something else, then you're like, okay, fine, I know Allama has several usages, Jahada has several uses. Yeah, because I haven't even memorized any of these things, honestly, and I'm not going to. I don't see the point in
Just to decipher the meaning more appropriately, right?
Yes, that's the idea. Yeah.
So we can go like the word which we are looking or we are coming across, and then we can relate that word. That would be an easier route.
Exactly. So this is just more of a reference. Maybe later on you can be able to use it, or just at the back of your mind, if you come across a word that has hyperbole, you'll be like, oh, I remember something like that about hyperbole with this family. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but you don't need to memorize this stuff. Yeah, that's why I'm actually just going really quickly over it so that we can just get it out of the way and go back to Sarf. We'll see if I can be able to do it. So yeah, then we have family 4. Family 4 is the Aslama family. This is a pretty common family, actually. And of course, you would find that most of these big families, they have what? Transitivity. Like you take something lazim from the small family, take it to these big families, and it becomes transitive. So again, with Aslama, same thing. Nazala, and we talked about this word nazala. Nazala, to come down. Nazala, repeatedly coming down or gradually coming down. And then anzala, all of it at once. Okay, so that idea of transitivity, basically. And you have other examples like jalasa, he sat down, so it's lazim. Ajlasa, to make somebody sit. Okay, so maybe you're forcing a kid to sit inside the car. So ajlastu, I made the baby sit. Okay, ajlastuhu or ajlastuha. Yeah. Akhraja, this is also a very common one. Like kharaja, to come out, to exit. You could be exiting a room, exiting your house, exiting a town. But akhraja, we actually use it to mean like they were expelled. That's the word that they like to use. So expelling out of somewhere. Like somebody else forced you out. When it's kharaja, you yourself, you're coming out. But akhraja, somebody else is forcing you out. See that? So that's the different meaning. Again, sami'a, to hear, asma'a, to make someone hear. So that kind of meaning. Now here's the fun bit. You could actually take it muta'addi word from family 1, take it to aslama, and it becomes lazim. So you can actually do the opposite. We've been doing lazim to muta'addi. Now we're doing muta'addi to lazim. Family 4 can do that. Aslama family can do that. So for example, you have nasala, he plucked, and sala, the wings came off. So it's just happening on themselves. Like it's the opposite meaning. Daraba, he struck it or hit. Adraba, he went on strike. Yeah. So you have examples like this where it's the complete opposite. So don't think all the time that if I see Aslama family, it's going to be transitive. It's going to be muta'addi. It could be intransitive. Could be lazim. Mutawa'a, reflection, becoming a reflection of the taf'il family. So again, allama and aslama, they're very close. They're very close. For example, bashartuhu fa'abshara. So I congratulated him. Bashartuhu, I congratulated him. So he felt congratulated. Fa'abshar. So I don't know, like it's sort of mirroring what family 2 is doing. Yeah. So فطرته فأفطر. I offered him breakfast, or in this case, it could be also like when we are breaking the fast. So the first meal of the day, basically. So I offered him the first meal of the day, and he ate the first meal of the day. بصرته فأبصر. I made him see, so he saw. I gave him sight. بصرته, I gave him sight, so he saw. So he now has sight. Examples like that. And then we have bulugh. We also talk about bulugh, reaching something. So again, allama and aslama, they have very similar operations, very similar ways of working. So going to Iraq, you would say أعرق. Yeah, like we said, facing Medina would be Maddana. Kaaba, to face Kaaba. Here, you would use Aslama family. So Sabaha, morning. Asbaha, we've done this. To enter into the morning. Now you understand why where Asbaha came from, Amsa came from, Adha came from. So it has to, like, reaching the morning. Alhamdulillah, we reached the morning. So that's the idea of reaching when it comes to the Aslama family. Or we reached the evening, Amsayna. Yeah. Or we reached Duha time, Adhayna. Yeah. Things like that. Again, you have this special category where it has nothing to do with the word. Like, it's just totally different. Shafiqa, he was nice. He was very kind. Ashfaqa, he was terrified. Completely different, completely new. So this is where you just look up the word in the dictionary and yeah. For example, you have Araba, he requested. A'raba, he turned away. This one comes in the Quran. A'raba. Oh, even Ashfaqa. So you see here, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مِنْ عَذَابِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. Yeah, terrified of the punishment of their Lord. When Shafiqa means nice guy, Shafiq. Yeah, nice guy. Amuna, he was honest, trustworthy. Amana, he believed. Where is it coming from? So even Amuna, is it Amuna or Amina? Amina, to be safe. Yeah, safe, and then Amana, to be, he believed. So you get the meaning. So Nadhara, he devoted, or he swore an oath, or he took allegiance, or something like that. Nadhara. And then you have Andhara, he warned. Very different meanings. Salima, he was safe. Aslama, he became Muslim. Yeah. Then you have to find a quality in someone. Kabura, to become great. So Kabura, become great. Akbartuhu, I found him to be great. So if you take that family, you put it in Aslama, so it's like you're finding that it's like, again, working like very closely like Allama. We said Allama, there's, you know, some things where you could like kaffara yukaffiru. I found him to be I accused him of being a kafir. Yeah, there's that element of accusation in Allama family. In Aslama family, you find those qualities also in people. Like Kabura, he was great. I found him to be great. Bakhila, he was stingy. Abkhaltuhu, I found him to be stingy, or yeah, something like that. Yes, Maimuna.
Sister, I wanted to ask, like, when we are translating, and like sometimes the family is, it's not necessarily that the family is all the time transitive, and similarly not all the time intransitive. So this come with practice. I think that when we are using a word in vocabulary, like we are trying to make a sentence, so we remember that it's transitive or it's intransitive.
Yeah, it's important
Like,
because
how do we remember that?
How do you remember what, if it's transitive? Or I think if you know the meaning, you can easily tell if it's transitive or not transitive. So if you don't know the word, you can check it in the dictionary and see what it means. For example, a word like he became great. When you look at this example, he became great. I can't say he became great and I put a who or a what after that. It's happening to him. Okay. There's no maf'ul here. So when I look at the meaning of the word, I know automatically that this is lazim. So that's maybe that the way you can be able to learn. But of course, it comes with a lot of practice and a lot of knowing vocabulary words. And sarf will also help, because there's a formula to passive words and there's a formula to active words. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there slowly. So if you know this family is always going to be intransitive. Kabura, karuma. Karuma yakrumu, there's no second line. If there's no second line to a family, that family is always going to be intransitive, which means you don't have a passive line. And the passive line, it has a way. Monkey sounds, we're going to talk about all that. The monkey sounds. And ui, mu'i, all that stuff. All right. Salb. Again, we talked about this in Allama. So removing something, we talked about, you know, if you are removing قرد is a monkey. قرد, to remove the monkey sound. Yeah. So same thing here. Shaka, he complained. Ashkaytuhu, I addressed his complaint. So you took care of it. You removed the complaint, in other words. Shafa, to heal. Ashfa, to not need healing. Okay. Ashfa al-maridu, the sick person got better, basically. Yeah, that's the idea. So the sickness got removed. Ashfa al-maridu, the sickness got removed. Shafa, I healed. I myself, I got healed, or I healed. Yeah. Again, you see a sayrura coming back again. So the same way, we use certain words and we put them in certain families and it just attained that quality. For example, sharaka is a shoelace. Ashraqtu na'la, I made a shoelace, a shoe with laces. So I made a shoe. Na'al is slippers or shoes. So if you make a shoe with laces, you say that. Let's use a more relevant example. Yeah, laban, milk. البنت الناقة, the camel gave milk. Yeah, so it was full of milk, in other words. So if I just see a camel and it has a lot of milk, I'll be like, oh, البنت القمل. You've just acquired milk. Yeah, the camel acquired milk or got milk. Alhama Samirun. Samir put on some weight. Like he got some meat on. Yeah, Alhama Samirun. Yeah, so something like that. You can be able to use words like this as well. Like these words, by the way, this kind of conjugation, it's not with words that are sarfifiable. Remember yesterday we talked about sarfifiable words and unsalfifiable words. So they're taking jamid words that do not have sarf, and they're actually putting them in families to gain that quality of that word. Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, we have tamara again, fruit. So athmarat shajaratu. We saw this example for those who are doing the assignment. This example is there. The tree became filled with fruit. Tamar is date. Tamar is fruit. Just clarification there. Don't confuse ta with fa. You can say atmara, or you can say tammara, and you can say athmarat. Athmara, fruit. Tammara, date. Yeah. And then we have again, of course, hyperbole. We talked about this balagha aspect to make it more or to exaggerate it, to make it a lot. So safrun is glow. Asfara subh, the morning was full of sunlight. Like when the sun just busts open and it's everywhere, there's light. Asfarat is sabah. Asfara subh. Sorry. Yeah. Something like that. So it's just exaggeration and balagha. Mubalagha. Take the maf'ul to place where the act takes place. So I think this one I just need to read the example to be able to understand. So bay'un is a sell. Aba'atul faras, I took the horse where the horses are sold. Okay, I think that's just a lot of, see, the thing is, Arabs just like to make things short. Look at all these sentences. I took the horse where the horses are sold. So the Arabs decided, you know what, we're so lazy, we can't do this whole sentence. Let's just say Aba'atul faras. Yeah, I took it where it's supposed to be sold. Wow. I think they were just a bunch of lazy people. Yeah, which is, it's good for us because the language is beautiful anyway. Arhantu ad-dara, I presented the home for collateral. My God. Again, these are examples that I don't think they appear so much. They're used a lot, or yeah. And then you have the example of qita' cutting. Aqta'atu khudbanan, I gave him permission to cut the branch. So it has to do with permission, giving permission. Okay. So shiwa'un, roasted meat. Ashwak, he gave you roasted meat. So giving something. Azmun, bone. A'adhamtul kalb, I gave the dog a bone. Again, not very common usages here, so I'm just gonna go really fast. This is one of the most common families, so it has a lot of usages, as you can see. Deserving. La'uma, he regretted, he blamed. Al-ama al-qa'idu, the leader became blameworthy. Okay. Again, this is just, you can see it's only one usage mentioned here, so it's not very common. I'm just gonna go through this really quickly. Al-haynuna, the time of something occurring, okay? Hasdun is the time, is harvest, okay? Ahsad al-zar'u, the time of harvest came. Again, with the idea of amsa and asbaha, reaching, yeah? So when ahsada, when the time of harvest reached or it came. I don't know why they separated this, but it just sounds like the other one. Sarmun, severance. Asram al-nakhlu, the time to pick the dates. Okay, again, it's just reaching. I think that this could be like the other one. I don't see why the separation. And then we have a tamkeen, giving the ability to do something. So hufratun is a ditch. Hafara, to dig. Hufratun, ditch. Ahfara, to make someone capable of digging. Ahfara, to make someone. I think you could also just say to make someone dig. يعني يقولون إنا لمردودون في الحافرة. Okay, so this is an example of the word this word. But this is not the same word. This is hafir. This is small family. This is a different word. I think the sisterhood did this was just putting words where they could find in the Quran the same word. But ahfara, this is not ahfara. This is hafirun. Fa'ilun. This is isim fa'il from small families, family number one. الموافقة, agreement with another family. أعظم, yeah, it also agrees a lot with family 10, you would find. So there's a lot of agreement there. أعظم, he found it to be great. استعظم, he also found it to be great. أدجى, دجى, it darkened. Again, these are not very, very common. Yeah. So what we're going to do, because we're already at time and we just did like 4 families, or 3 families actually. So what we're going to do is, because this is pretty straightforward, and I think if you just take a look, you can be able to see, to be able to understand some of this stuff. I'm just going to post these different implications in the group. You guys can take a look. And if there's any explanation needed, I can try and explain. But I think it's pretty straightforward. What do you guys think? Do you want us to maybe continue next Sunday and do the same thing and for the rest of the other families that is remaining, or do you want me to just post it in the group and you guys can take a look?
I think
You posted.
So I have one person post it. Yes, another person.
okay, I'm saying maybe we don't discuss it in so much detail, but like you can discuss some of the common, like first 2, 3 very common uses.
Okay.
Plus.
Okay. Any other suggestions, guys? Which one do we go with? Okay, so maybe what we're gonna do is just discuss maybe 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
And we can skim through. Like we don't need to do all
Post
of
in
the
the group.
uses. Just yeah.
Okay.
More suggestions to be posted in the group.
Yeah. Yeah, I can post in the group as well, no problem. Yeah. And then, but like I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay if others want to continue ahead. It's okay.
Yeah, but basically, what you can do is, what I can do is maybe just discuss what was mentioned in Bayina, because there were some rhetorical benefits that were mentioned in our dream program. So maybe those ones are the ones that I can discuss. I think that one will be better. And then this comprehensive list, we'll just do what Shahira is saying. We'll just do a quick glance. Yeah, just like to tell, okay, there's transitivity, there's what, and then we can do from there. Just a quick glance. I think that's
So Ilham, will you please share this file also in the group?
yes.
So we can go through from our side.
Yeah, I will share all these documents all the way up to family 10. All this I will share. Yeah, so that you can also have this resource and hopefully benefit from that as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll just highlight it mostly in, let me see if I can be able to open. Do I have a textbook on? So in the textbook, uses of Sarf, what is this the one? Not, I need to, recognizing Sarf families. No, summary. Okay. So I did my own like summary here. So this is what is mentioned in the Baina. Let me try and zoom that. See this bottom part? This part I just added on my own. It's not there in your notes. So if you go looking for it, you will not find it. Okay. So basically, I just did a summary. These points are already mentioned in the textbook, but they're mentioned after each family. So I just put a summary of it. So for example, you have the Allama family. What it mentions is repetitive and over a period of time. Like the example of Anzala and Nazzala. That is the best example to remember Allama by. And then Jahada is one doing to another. Like Qatala, they fought each other. Sharaka, they cooperated with each other. So you have that aspect of doing something to one another. Okay, that's jahada. Then aslama, to make someone else do. Yeah. So I, which word can I use here? Yeah, jalasa. Jalasa, he sat. Ajlastu, I made him sit. Yeah. So that's aslama, to make someone else do. And then you have ta'allama. Ta'allama requires some effort to complete, and it's mostly you doing it. So this ta'allama is mostly lazim, mostly, but then not always. I'm saying mostly, not always. So like for example, ta'allamtu, I was the one struggling to learn. Yeah, so it requires some effort. You need to struggle through the process. So I am the one struggling to learn. I am the one doing all these different things. That's ta'allama. Tasa'ala is collaborative. Like you're collaborating with each other. Okay. So like tawasa. We did for those who listened to the tadabbur session, we did tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. You're collaborating with each other. You're counseling each other. It's not a one-way street. It's together. It's both parties doing the same thing. In qalaba, it's mostly translated as passive in English. So they were like in qalaba itself, the meaning is they got turned. They got turned back. So that idea of turned, it's mostly translated as passive. This one, and it's also actually, it doesn't have the passive line, so it's lazim. Iqtaraba, it's mostly for hyperbole, for exaggeration. Although we saw that all these other families also have some exaggeration, but iqtaraba mostly used for exaggeration. Ihmarra is only for colors, like I mentioned yesterday. So this is family 9. And istaghfara, to want, to hope, to seek, trying. That's the implication of istaghfara. Although again, they all have different implications, but I think these are the main ones that were mentioned in the book. Yeah, I think, Ustad also mentioned some points about Aslama as well. About maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6, maybe 9, I don't know. But he also elaborated that. So maybe somebody who has those notes can post in the group as well, just for own revision. Right. Any other questions before we end? Okay, so there are no questions. So inshallah, next week we'll just do a very quick skim through this stuff, and then we're gonna start irregular sarf. That's gonna be interesting. All right. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.